WFBS was owned by a company called Radio Smiles, which was part of Smiles Associates, which in turn owned 6 other stations in 3 states. They were interested in me becoming their chain production director, and this had been another carrot that Jerry Oakley had dangled in front of me during our poker game luncheon. Production director for the Radio Smiles broadcast chain. It had a nice ring to it. I would travel 2 or 3 days a week to other stations, teaching their production people concepts and techniques, and also augment their speculation demos for new business.
Radio Smiles presentation tape A68-9, The Problem Solver, cut 14, stand by, cue the intro, cue the announcer.
This is The Problem Solver.
Cue the music. Cue the announcer.
Yes, this is The Problem Solver.
Kill it, kill it, kill it. Much too slow. We gotta step up the pace much faster. And Charlie, right there on your last line where you say, this is the problem solver, I think it would sound better perhaps if we dumped in a logo. You know, you say, this is the problem solver.
WFBS.
Right, singers, you come in at that same place too and go ahead and cover up for that lack of tightness there. Okay, everybody stand by. Radio Smiles presentation tape A68-9, The Problem Solver.
Yes, radio's getting more and more complicated every day, and that's an understatement if there ever was. But it's only normal, for as you know, the more competitive a business becomes, the more complex also. Today, modern commercial radio is a science, at least in the Smiles chain, not a cold science as such, but rather a human science. Indeed, we do deal with cold facts and figures, but only as they apply to humanity as an individual. For after all, humanity as a whole will be the deciding factor. 6 months ago, at one of the Smiles chain sales meetings, we found ourselves involved with a very interesting subject, namely commercial effectiveness. That is to say, the question was asked, are all commercials at all the stations in our chain equally as effective? A simple question, but at the same time a very far-reaching one. For after all, up to this point, it was never given much thought. Each production department at each station did the best job possible, and that was that. But after this meeting, that would never be that again. For this particular meeting became the summit of summits, subtitled Sales Department Meets Production Department, or The Smiles Little Bighorn. From the sales department came stories of great success expressed with the normal glowing terminology, and also stories of mediocre results punctuated by the normal profane punctualities. A conclusion was reached rather rapidly that there were indeed varying degrees of commercial effectiveness, but the production department, not ready to capitulate instantaneously, retaliated. By what standard are you judging commercial effectiveness? What's your formula? Silence. And then, well, let's look at it this way. Radio is nothing more than a problem solver. If you owned an appliance store, your problem would be marketing appliances. If you were selling more appliances than you could stock, you would really have no problem, therefore no need for radio or, for that matter, any kind of advertising. But this is such a rare case that in the 39 years I've been in the commercial world, I've never seen such a situation. So let's be realistic. As long as a man has any stock at all, he's got problems. Hence the need for radio. The bigger the stock, the greater the problem, the bigger the need. So now, in its simplest form, the criteria for evaluating a given radio commercial must be how effective it is in solving the particular problem, how well it markets appliances. That was the big boss there. Again, silence. Then, rather timidly, But the production department concedes to all that's been said, except to that last line, the reference to how well it markets appliances. We feel that our primary goal should be that of selling the advertiser to the people. Then he can in turn market the appliance himself. All right, let's look at it close. Cause and effect. And so it went back and forth. The conclusion was that it was most important to sell the advertiser first, to create traffic, then secondarily market his product. We must sell you first, then the product. How well we sell you now becomes the criteria for evaluation of radio commercials. And also, we must remember that there's only a given percentage of people at any one time even interested in buying your product. That means that if we were to spend 100% of the commercial selling your product, we'd be only hitting, say, 5 25% of a possible 100% audience. The commercial must be interesting in general to be most effective. Not just interesting to the people interested in buying, but rather interesting to everybody. It seems logical to say that we must not attempt to sell people that are not interested in buying, but on the other hand, sell them on the idea that when they do decide to buy, they'll buy from you. Well, anyway, to say the least, we took a good look at our commercials. We evaluated them. We dissected them. What was the difference between an effective commercial and a less effective commercial? And what did the effective commercials have in common with one another? It proved to be very interesting, for sure enough, the effective commercials did have something in common in their construction. 3 basic parts: a basic concept image, the sponsor identification, and a specific concept image. Let's listen to one now.
All right, cue the horns. No, not those horns, the other ones.
Right, Your Majesty.
As King of Royal Dodgedom, I command all of my subjects to listen to this following official proclamation. I, the King of Royal Dodgedom, speak.
Certainly did, Your Majesty.
Hold it down there, subject. We at Royal Dodge in Fayetteville have become North Carolina's largest volume Dodge dealer, the King of Dodge dealers.
Let's hear it for the King.
And now, for you, I have over $500,000 worth of 68 Dodges in my inventory for immediate delivery.
Yes, it's true. The king of Dodge dealers is Royal Dodge, 1045 Bragg Boulevard. Whether your favorite be Dart, Cornet, Polara, Monaco, or the car of the century, the Charger, the Clean Machine, the Dodge of your choice awaits you at Royal Dodge, 1045 Bragg Boulevard, king of Dodge dealers.
Now let's dissect it together. First, the basic concept image.
The king of Dodge dealers,
The sponsor identification.
is Royal Dodge, 1045 Bragg Boulevard.
And the specific concept image.
We at Royal Dodge in Fayetteville have become North Carolina's largest volume Dodge dealer.
And there it is, the 3 most important parts of the commercial: the sponsor identification, the basic concept image, and the specific concept image. The first 2, the sponsor identification and the basic concept image, really, it makes no difference in what order they appear, for if we analyze the latter part of the commercial, we'll find that it's exactly reversed from that which we analyzed first. This time, the sponsor identification comes first, then the basic concept image.
The Dodge of your choice awaits you at Royal Dodge, 1045 Bragg Boulevard, king of Dodge dealers.
What makes it work? Well, here it is. The basic concept image is nothing more than a tool, a vehicle to gain entrance into the retentive portion of the mind, something unusual. For after all, if a commercial is not remembered, it's not effective, and the unusual is the easiest to remember. The sponsor identification, by necessity, is placed directly ahead of or directly behind the basic concept image. Therefore, when one is committed to memory, the other is too. Royal Dodge, king of Dodge dealers, sponsor identification, basic concept image, both planted together and retained as one. To say the least, the retentive powers of Royal Dodge are low, but hook it to the king of Dodge dealers, give it a voice, and bring it alive with action, and you have a giant. Action is where the specific concept image comes in. The specific concept image is action, whatever weird thing the king might do. And by changing the specific concept image, you have a completely different commercial. Listen.
Good evening. In the top news stories of today, the king goes barnstorming. That and other stories following this.
See the Dodge boys.
This morning, in the thriving community of Bonnie Doon, the king of Royal Dodgedom once again reiterated his campaign plank.
My campaign promise this year is, hit the theme, boys, a Dodge in every garage.
From Bonnie Doon, the king's caravan, composed of 23 Dodge Chargers, motivated to Skybo, where he made a bid for total Dodge unity.
Both the straight Dodge Slate in 68.
More news in a moment.
You can cure Dodge fever at the Dodge boys.
In an exclusive interview with Ken Sterling, famed political analyst, this evening, the king said, "Vote yourself out of the low-price class name and go Polara, the prestige pick."
The Dodge boys have dealer fever.
See Royal Dodge, king of Dodge dealers.
Well, the commercial sounded different, didn't it? But when you break it down, what do you have? Royal Dodge, sponsor identification, king of Dodge dealers, basic concept image. The only thing that was changed was the specific concept image. In this case,
The king goes barnstorming.
the basic concept image and the sponsor identification always remain the same to enhance the retention factor. The specific concept image is always changed to enhance the retention factor. The end product is a 100% rememberable commercial. Rememberable not just to the 5% interested in, say, buying a car, but the other 95% out there too. This truly is the most effective way to advertise and to plan an image. For after all, image is what in the long run will bring people into your store or keep them out. Image. That's what radio's all about. Images and concepts. For together, they build traffic. And that's the ultimate aim. That's the service you pay for, and that's the service we offer. We must sell you first, then the product. People must retain your name, and this is done through image concepts. We've heard now a couple of the most effective commercials, but let's not be one-sided. Here's another type of commercial that you're probably very familiar with. Listen closely. Shop Bird Food Centers this week and go buy school supplies for the children with your savings. Birds will save you money this week and every week. Just listen. Azalea All-Meat Franks, 53 cents a pound. Dressed Roosters, 19 cents a pound. Azalea Bologna, 49 cents a pound. Old Hickory Barbecue, 99 cents a pound. Small T-bone steak, 69 cents a pound. Tenderized steaks, 79 cents a pound. Armor Crescent bacon, 3 pounds, $1. Guaranteed quality hindquarters of beef, cut and wrapped for your freezer, only 53 cents a pound. Duke's mayonnaise, 49 cents a quart. The 46-ounce can of tomato juice, 25 cents. Hudson paper towels, 2-roll pack, 39. Super Suds, 19 cents a box. Armour's Vienna sausage, 5 cans for $1. Armour's potted meat, 10 cans, $1. Golden ripe bananas, 10 cents a pound. Fresh homegrown okra, 23 cents a pound. Fresh homegrown peas, 2 pounds, 29 cents or $2.49 for the bushel. Yes, Bird Food Centers carry a complete line of quality meats, homegrown vegetables and fruits, staple and fancy groceries. It's a one-stop shopping center for all your grocery needs. And right now, after hearing the latter commercial, I could go back and ask you how much Azalea Bologna was, but I wouldn't hold my breath for an answer. People's minds only retain so much at any given time, and when this retention capacity is exceeded, almost all of the particular commercial in question is lost. It's just not effective. However, I could go back now and ask you who the king was, and through the magic of radio, you've already committed it to memory. Royal Dodge, king of Dodge dealers. King. That's sort of silly, but you remembered it, didn't you? And that's what it's all about. It was a very long meeting, and very interesting. I hope I've managed to relay some of it to you, and perhaps you have some ideas of your own. Other people have.
It's Radio Smiles, Radio Smiles.
The 10 Commandments of Atwater Ford. Commandment 1. I shall always be #1 in volume sales.
Radio Smiles.
And now, the ABS-TV Radio Network presents another thrilling adventure of What Price Quality, starring Super Sales, fearless leader of low prices. Today's adventure, the Appliance Alliance.
Radio Smiles.
What would history have been like without Norm and the Discount Boys at Bragg Auto Parts Discount Center in their new location at 1048 Bragg Boulevard? Case in point, remember that first flight of the Wright brothers over at Kitty Hawk?
Radio Smiles, Radio Smiles.
High on a hill overlooking a bustling plot of land that is Fort Bragg stands the Greyhound Wish Receiver. Through the maze of wires and electronic gizmos that comprise the Wish Receiver, Greyhound is able to keep tuned with the times. Let's tune in now.
Radio Smiles. Yes, sir.